Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader. Me, Mercatum. Let's head to the Administratum Palace. Terrible news from Janus, Lord Captain. Subsidiary hive Scipion, 84-249 has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production is halted. Millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? Colony reward gained, people times 2. What is the cause of the catastrophe? It is still unclear. The noble houses are casting blame on one another. Agents of the esteemed Achilles Scalander stationed in Scipion 84-249 died heroically while trying to save the population from this disaster. The final reports mention some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but did not go into further detail. All your servants are currently too busy dealing with the consequences of the crisis to investigate its causes. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the causes of the disaster can be concretely established, but avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs among them. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons where the refugees can be contained in the wastelands between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. Sorry, fate, not faith. If the other hives do not wish to accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson of resilience and humility. I'm sure that the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness, this tragedy a feat of spirit. The noble houses are trying to wash their hands of this. How predictable. And yet, it is their duty to see to it that the planet meets its tithe obligation and brings glory and revenue to the treasury in your absence. Let the aristocrats see to the refugees and not stop till every last one of them has been put to work. The blood of Scipion 84-249, the Rogue Trader gains +1 deflection and +3% hit chance. Refugees from the Fallen Hive toil without rest to prove that they deserve the honor of serving the Protectorate. These servants have now been tasked with maintaining the Rogue Trader's equipment in perfect condition, and they do so with painstaking care. Or efficiency +1 in Wastelander's Prayer. Decreases enemy critical damage by 15%. Or Bane of Scipion 84-249. Grants the Rogue Trader and their allies +2 momentum for each human enemy killed in battle. I really like Abelard's bonus, but Heinrich's makes sense. So Heinrich's, set up prohibitive cordons at the perimeter of the hives. I'll draft a few orders from my informants on Dargonus. The refugees quickly realized that they would not find shelter in the hives and dispersed across the wastelands. A harsh lesson in discipline has been delivered to the capital. Van Calix's agents have run a thorough investigation to identify many of the refugees who had managed to reach and hide in the hives. Remembering how the Rogue Trader had treated their relatives and neighbors, they could have plotted their revenge, if only they hadn't been expelled into the wastelands. Alright, so Restoration, Extasiums for the Nobility, or Emporium. So I think we'll do, well, I'll do Restoration. A new hive city will be established on top of the ruins of Scipion 84-249. So it blocks the other two projects, cost 1 provision. We lose 1 profit factor, gain +1 complacency, efficiency, and security, and ×3 people. And actually, while we're managing colonies, still don't have what I need for these two. What about Janus? Blocks Rose of Zamergand. Oh, this helmet is probably one of the best pieces of equipment for a Psyker in the game. I was going to do this one anyway, so the Science of Virtue. All the corruption in Janus originated in the sophistries of unholy scholars. Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso, a preacher of the cult of St. Drusus, is going to visit Janus to perform the procedure of blessed elimination of the aggregate complexes and demarcation of the irrigation systems. Instead of relying on the advice of godless janitors, he'll be guided by the wise examples set in hagiographies of the saints, the teachings of righteous scriptures, and the pious sacred geometry of the iconographers. May faith triumph over the sophistication of soulless metal. So we have the reputation needed. It blocks rows of Samarkand, right? Yeah, I'm not going to feed people to plants. And we get the Eyes of Joyeuse. More reputation with the Drusians, complacency +2, and efficiency -1. I'll read that once we get it. Alright, back to Dargos. We need to go here with Jae in tow. Works for me. That's the last time I listened to that idiot. I missed my turn because of him, and I'm stuck in this queue for another week. I deserve compensation for my lost trading time.
Is there money to be made?
A greeting protocol. Welcome to the palace of the Adeptus Administratum. Identifying. Your lordship, please follow me. I treat every citizen as a suspect until they prove they can be trusted. Turn after turn, the unceasing stream of petitioners pours through the palace doors. The strong-willed wait patiently, while the weak-willed try everything they can to get ahead of the others. Checking coordinates. Continue this direction to reach your destination. Your visit has been logged.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
The Palace of the Adeptus Administratum is a bulwark of order in the Von Blancy's protectorate. The towering piles of papers and endless shelves heaving with ledgers evoke special reverence for the laws of the God Emperor and the hearts of the servants of the Adeptus Administratum. Chronicle of Case number 68302-720-LA2987-B4-126. The parchment looks grease-marked and old, as though it has passed through many, many pairs of hands. Servant of the Imperium, Elias Tantanol, filed a declaration with the Adeptus Administratum that he is the sole heir of House Tantanol, and the legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex. According to the submission, Elias Tantanol cannot exercise his right to his inheritance, as the wider family tree includes an individual who shares his full legal name. According to the petitioner, this individual is his great-grandfather. Given the loss of documents confirming the death of the second claimant to the inheritance, Elias Tantanol is petitioning for confirmation of this relative's death, and permission for the enactment of his inheritance rights. Petition received, preliminary review period up to 15 Terran years. Forwarded for review, 23 Terran years, 4 cycles from date of submission. Request for a copy of the death certificate of Elias Tantanol, sent to the archive of the Departamento Munitorum. 28 Terran years, 2 cycles from date of submission. Request rejected, 39 Terran years, 11 cycles from date of submission. Second request sent to the archive, 44 Terran years, 4 cycles from date of submission. Request approved, 52 Terran years from date of submission. After 48 repeated petitions from Elias Tantanol, a third request is sent to the archive. 79 Terran years, 7 cycles from date of submission. Yeah, I read that one. A copy of the certificate of Elias Tantanol, great-grandfather to the petitioner, received. 84 Terran years, 6 cycles from date of submission. Documents forwarded for formulation of decision granting permission for the enactment of the inheritance rights of Elias Tantanol sole heir of his house and legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex. 101 Terran years, 5 cycles from date of submission. Death of Elias Tantanal recorded by servants of the Adeptus Administratum. Place of death, Q16, wills, legacies, and inheritances. Waiting hall, Palace of the Adeptus Administratum, Dargonus. 106 Terran years, 2 cycles from date of submission. Death certificate of Elias Tantanal sent to the archive of the Departamento Munitorum. 114 Terran years, 10 cycles from date of submission. Petition for the enactment of inheritance rights following the death of Elias Tantanal, and for the issuance of a copy of the death certificate received from the deceased's daughter, Eliasa Tantanal, 114 Terran years, 11 cycles from date of submission. So he died waiting in line for his inheritance. Sacred Scroll, the 1005 Admonitions of Master of Inventory, of Achilles to the Adepts of the Administratum.
I always keep my options open.
Inkwell of Lavalia the Impartial, First Master of Seals of the Cronus Expanse. Parmento Exacta Report. Auditing and reissuance of the Great Tithe Payment documentation for GX-75021 and GX-76021. In the last 2,836 Terran years, entries mentioning planet GX-75021, 284,356 found, including copies. Entries mentioning planet GX-76021, 1 found, including copies. A full list confirmed by the Adeptus Terra of all planetary objects located within the territory of the illustrious rogue trader dynasty of Von Valancius was received 164 Terran years ago. After careful reconciliation of the data, it was found that planetary object GX-76021 has not been included in the collection of the Imperial Tithe for the last 2,836 Terran years. In the same period, the planetary object GX-75021 was included in the taxable sites but did not pay its Imperial Tithe, thereby failing to uphold its sacred obligation to the Imperium. Subsequent analysis of archived documentation revealed the absence of documentation confirming the existence of planetary object GX-75021, unlike planetary object GX-76021, which was discovered in files dated more than 2,836 Terran years ago. Based on an internal inventory investigation, the Adeptus Administratum decrees that any mention of planetary object GX-75021 must be replaced with GX-76021. The governor of planetary object GX-76021 must pay the tithe for the preceding 2,836 Terran years within a period of no more than 50 Terran years, and, in the event of non-payment of the tithe within the prescribed period, planetary object GX-76021 will be seized for the needs of the Adeptus Administratum. 95% of the population will be immediately subjected to servitude and perpetuus for the benefit of the Imperium. Note: precise reckoning of the tithe amount required in throne gelts is appended to this report. Note: an advisory letter has been sent to the Departamento Munitorum recommending that the Departamento conduct its own internal inventory investigation to determine whether planetary object GX-76021 has fulfilled its sacred obligation to provide recruits for the Astra Militarum. Holy moly. We're just getting started. The Master of Seals. An ancient-looking woman in a voluminous robe peers at you critically through her ocular lenses when you descend into the bowels of her bureaucratic domain. Another noble bypassing the queue under the pretext of just wanted to ask. All you highborn ever want is just to ask. But what about protocol? That's what I'm asking. Who is going to follow protocol? Jae glances at you and whispers, "What? So I paid off a few clerks to let us skip the queue, Shireen. Your time is more important to me than any little formalities." "Very well. Don't just stand there. You're here now. Or do you think the Master of Seals has nothing better to do than receive unexpected visitors?" Gilman beckons over a servo skull floating nearby. Begin entry, current hour, current turn, current cycle, 41st millennium. Metal manipulators immediately begin feverishly clacking, taking dictation. Prefect, Master of Seals. Is there not too many titles for one official? It is proportionate to my duties, your lordship. While I am involved with the Administratum's archiving cogitators, I I proudly bear the title of Master of Seals. In all other circumstances, I'm a mere prefect. This distinction allows me to organize my work in due fashion, and as you surely understand, clarity and order are critical components of the sacred acts of maintaining and managing records. What is this place? The Master of Seals raises her eyebrows in surprise. You are in the very heart of the palace of the Adeptus Administratum. Day and night, hundreds of thousands of prefects, ordinates, scribes, servants, and servitors carry out their duties to humanity and the Von Valancius dynasty here, never setting foot outside its boundaries for decades at a time. But knowledge comes through comparison. There are entire worlds belonging to the Administratum, so this palace is but a humble cog in the blessed machine of the Imperium. Tell me about yourself. I am the law, and I oversee order in this section of the Coronis Expanse, as well as on worlds of the Von Valancius Protectorate, in accordance with ancient covenants made with your ancestors. I hold the power to grant petitioners what they seek, and to punish criminals for failing to carry out the Imperium's will. Jae continues in a whisper. She's ancient enough herself. Look at her. She's a bona fide living mummy. Tell me about the work of the Adeptus Administratum. The Master of Seals tuts in displeasure. One would think the Protectorate's heir has no care for his tongue. He is so willing to wag it to the point of blistering. However, I, despised servant of the Emperor that I am, do not possess the gift of unallocated time. Let us proceed to the matter of your application. My companion wishes to obtain a Mercatum Tabulae Officiale. The Master of Seals peers over her ocular lenses at Jae in disbelief. Then she looks at you. I take it you are her sponsor. In that case, you must submit a written application in conformity with template number 404.01, as well as written permission for the processing and notarization of the personal data of your most sacred personage. Without it, I cannot issue Mistress Heydari. Mistress Heydari, the form of collecting the seals required to obtain the Mercatum Tabulae Officiale, the certificate of an official trade representative. At these words, the saccharine smile drops from Jae's face. Seals? What seals? We will discuss that when Donnie Dawson Von Valancius has prepared the primary documentation. Ablar lets out a stoic sigh and rolls his eyes. You get the feeling that this is not his first personal interaction with the Administratum bureaucracy, nor is it his second. Bella surveys the room and slowly removes her hand from the handle of her weapon. There's only one thing that can kill you here, Donnie Dawson, and that is old age. But there is no way of getting around these formalities. Bear the wrath of the Immortal One, your lordship. What would become of your protectorate, or even the Imperium itself, if every person did what you're proposing? No. Lex Imperialis, Volume 249, Paragraph 18/2, Amendment of the 12th year of the previous millennium clearly states, actions that circumvent the sacred law of the Imperium in pursuit of personal gain are a manifestation of human weakness, which is subject to eradication. Could you handle the paperwork on my behalf? I will pay. She mutters something waspishly under her breath, ignoring your question entirely. And if I refuse? Then I'm afraid Mistress Heydari will never receive her much-desired certificate, and I'll be obliged to levy a fine against your noble name, wasting the valuable time of the Master of Seals. Shireen, I know that Aji have thwarted our plans, and that unforeseen circumstances have arisen never mind. So the steamed Damar wants us to fill in a couple of forms. I'll do that with great pleasure. Complete application form number 404.01. The perfectly sharpened quill scratches pleasantly on the parchment, but for the first few minutes, the obfuscatory phrasing, footnotes, amendments, you're forced to write out the same details over and over. About you, the Protectorate, Theodora Von Valancius, Jae, then also every living person who bears your family name. If you do not know all the required information, you must complete supplementary forms. The Master of Seals nods in approval, bestows the scroll into a tube labeled with your name. Next is a consent form for the processing and notarization of the personal data of your most sacred personage. Sigh forlornly. Master of Seals animatedly draws her cogita quill across the surface of a data slate, paying no attention to you. Give your written consent on the presented form. scroll is whipped away with into another tube by the Master of Seals. Protocol executed. Application received, processed, approved. Silver Skull Scribe taps out each word after its mistress's pronouncement. Come on, Esteemed Damar. What's that you were saying about seals? Middleman unhurriedly holds out a printed scroll to Jae. Here's your document, Mistress Heydari. Unfortunately, it does not yet have legal force. I can certify it as the sacred Mercatum Tabulae Officiale once it has received 2 seals of approval. They are easy to obtain. The Imperium Court Administratum servitors have been handling such tasks for over 50 years. There's one such servitor here in Dargonus in the Rogue Trader's Palace. The second is duty-bound to keep the seal in the Telecos Epsilon system. Why can the seals not be affixed here in the Administratum Palace? Uncertified document. Mercatum Tabulae Officiale. This document requires several signatures and seals to have legal force. Already read that? According to Amendment 3-C/8, implemented by Perfectus Asthenia II of Dargonus, one of the seals must be kept in the palace of the ruler of the Von Valances Protectorate, remaining a symbol of the unbreakable link between the Sacred Warrant and the Adeptus Administratum. The second seal, the ocular lenses perched on her nose click as she raffles through moldering scrolls with her wrinkled fingers. It's held in the Telecos Epsilon system in accordance with Decree OL-008/ZN. Unfortunately, after a fire 200 years ago, all that remains of the original decree is an addendum certified by an unknown adept with the initials AA. No instructions repealing this decree were ever received from Holy Terra. Therefore, the seal remains where it ought to be. There was a time during my earlier years of service when I performed the duties of a secretary in charge of logistics reports at a local administratum office. Your words, Master of Seals, bring back memories of which I am not the least bit fond. Why am I obliged to handle such a task myself? Decree 424, Clause 79, Amendment 8 of the law in certifying a Mercatum Tabulae Officiale with sponsorship of a bearer of the Warrant of Trade. The sponsoring rogue trader must be present at the placing and certifying of each seal. If this requirement is not met, the document will be deemed invalid. Find Administratum servitors and have them place 2 seals of approval. The goal is clear. The Master of Seals nods with satisfaction. Please do return once you have prepared the documents. Whew. Holy moly.
Keep your wits about you.
Find the seal in Dargonus. I think I know where it's at. I could also be thinking of a quest later on. Who's to say? Yeah, I thought it was a servitor down there, but again, that might be tied to a quest later on. Mistress Heydari, my patience is not easily exhausted, but becoming very close. Okay. I see the family resemblance with Abelard now. Can I see farther than your own nose might... Let the rogue trader decide. Your lordship, I apologize for this ugly scene, but might I ask that you rein in Mistress Heydari and put a stop to her inflammatory actions toward me? As the Exalted One is my witness, Shireen, I've tried everything I could to spare you an unnecessary headache over the seals for the Mercatum Tabulae Officiale. I even showed this aid with a temper worse than a sandstorm, a certificate with your signature. But your Chancellor merely kept batting me away with her flail of baseless denials. I suspect that the reason for this has nothing to do with my humble personage. Clementia purses her lips and glowers at Jae. Oh no, this isn't about me at all. Jae narrows her eyes as she peers into Clementia's face, till the latter finally looks away. I see. Well, Chancellor, will you tell us yourself, or should I help you? Whatever is the matter, Mistress Versarian? I'm afraid that my words may anger your lordship. Clementia lowers her head in shame, as if offering it up to be removed from her shoulders. The seal you're looking for was lost over a quarter of a century ago. Her ladyship Theodora von Valancius ordered a new one to be delivered from the Imperium, but, as you well know, we're a long way away from Holy Terra. With warp storms ravaging the Cronus Expanse, we've been unable to receive a replacement to this day. Give Clementia the seal with the Winterscale coat of arms. Could this be the seal in question? This is without a doubt the Administratum seal from Winterscale's realm. Why is it the original, not a copy? Ah, I think I understand. But the laws of the Imperium do not prohibit heirs of other houses from using the seal in times of need. I will order to have the servants of the machine cult create a duplicate so as to avoid such embarrassing predicaments in the future. We lost the worn seal. There's something I must discuss with the Chancellor in private. By all means, Shireen, I do not waste any more of the precious balm that is your time on matters related to me. If I may excuse myself. We'll have to go back and see what they were talking about. Already read that. Alright, so when we first showed up, Mistress Heydari. My patience is not easily exhausted, becoming very close. Shall I repeat myself again? No. I will not be issuing you any seal, not in exchange for your honest word, nor for a bribe. I can see the family resemblance with Abelard now. You cannot see farther than your own nose, my dear Clementia. It wasn't a bribe, it was a gift. Now about that seal. So that's one of two done. I should have taken the shortcut to the ship. Oh well. Alright, I guess I'll call it here. Next time, I think we've already been to Telecos Epsilon, so we'll just go back there again since it's already been cleared out. And then we'll continue exploring systems on our way to Kiava Gamma. We go here. Let's see. So yeah, we'll probably go north and take care of these few systems first. Kiava Gamma is all the way over here. The Chronox system. Telecos Epsilon. Pretty. There it is. Yeah, we've been there. That's where Janus is. So we have a straight shot to that on a safe route. I also want to go and knock these few out as well. So we'll figure it out. But either way, for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.